Hey guys, in this video, we're going to discuss what it means to make connections with your students. This is an incredibly powerful tool that will help people to retain their desire to stay with us and to continue training for the long term. Not only that, these one-on-one interactions, these connections that we're going to have with people can literally change lives for the better. Several people did this for me whenever I was coming up, whenever I was growing up, and people still do it today. All right, guys. So the first step in making connections is to ask questions. We want to genuinely know about the people's life. How are you feeling today? Did you have a good weekend? What did you do that was fun today? These can be really simple questions. I encourage you to write down a list. If you struggle to make small talk with people, it would be really easy to write down a list of maybe 4 or 5 questions that you can ask people. All right. Number 2, you need to make sure that you're situational with these. If somebody walks in and you can tell that they're a little bit down and you're going to ask them one of those simple questions, you probably shouldn't ask them, what was great that happened to you today? That's not the first question you should ask. Maybe the first question you should ask is, hey, I see that you might be a little upset. Is there something that I can help you with? Would you like to share what happened today? Those would be ways that you can make those personal connections. All right. Number 2, I want you to say their name a lot. Here's the deal. People remember people who remember them, okay? I know that seems like a silly statement, but if I walk into a group and there's somebody that seems to be an important person, and I talk to them and introduce myself to them, and 2 minutes later they don't remember my name, it's not really that big of a deal to me because I just figured that I'm not important compared to them. But if 2 days later I pass that person in a grocery store and they're like, hey, Mr. TJ, I'm glad you're here today. It was so fun to meet you at that event the other day. Or 6 months later, I go to another event and they're there and they're like, hey, TJ, I'm so glad you came back to this event. It really makes a big deal. You might be able to tell that I'm actually thinking of a specific person as I'm talking about this. A gentleman by the name of Hunchy Dave Kovar did this for me, and it really made a huge impact on my life. All right, next, actively listen. Now, that doesn't mean to just sit there and stare at somebody. Activity means that we're doing something. It also doesn't mean that we're trying to speak over them. Actively listen. We've got 2 ears, let's use both of them. Be quiet and listen to their answers and keep your eyes focused on them as much as you can while you're talking. Make that very small moment, make it their moment. Make them the most important person to you during that moment. Listen to what they say and listen to understand rather than to respond. Then deliberately remember what they've told you so that next time you have a conversation, you can make a connection to what they told you last time. You can also ask questions to get more detail about that subject. That lets them know that you really care about what they're saying. All right, number 4, find connections with them. If I'm talking to somebody and they're talking about something that really doesn't have a lot to do with me, maybe they're an engineer, maybe they are a gardener, maybe they're a florist, I don't know. They have a different job, they work in a different environment, maybe they go to a different school, and I don't feel like I have any connections with them. What I can do is I can start to think about a spider web. At the center of the spider web is this person. And maybe they go to this school, but that school has the same person as the district manager that my school has. Well, there's a connection, right? Maybe they're part of the same regional area and they compete in band. And well, I competed in band a few years ago. There's a connection. So what I'm looking for is how the spider web connects and how I can make a connection with that person. I want to use that tool to make them feel special. For instance, oh, you're competing in regionals? Man, that was really hard for me. I'm excited to see how well it goes for you. I bet you're going to be way better at it than I was. So that's a way to build somebody up with a connection from their life to yours. All right, next, we want to do some appropriate play. Here's an easy game, especially with children, that works really well, is speedy high fives. Maybe the first time you give them a great high five, then the next time you go, okay, you got to be fast, and you hold your hand up and you pull it away, and they miss a couple of times, and then boom, you let them catch you that third time. It gives them that feeling of success, and it's a really fun game you can play. Depending on what we do in class, you can be part of some of the training games that we play. Maybe you jump in with them on one-legged hopping championship, or maybe you jump on their team during dodgeball or something like that. When we play with people, it builds really fast and unique connections with them and lets them know that we care about them and that we don't see ourselves as more important than them. We just have to make sure that the play is appropriate to the situation. So think about making sure that you have appropriate physical contact if you're playing with somebody. Make sure that you're not throwing that dodgeball 10 times harder than they can. Make sure that you're doing things that are appropriate to the situation and to the student, whether it be a child or an adult. An adult probably doesn't want to do the super speedy high five game. They probably want you to play by doing a drill with them and smiling and laughing as you do it. All right, next, we want to make sure that we train together. Sometimes I'll do this in class, and you may have seen me or one of the other instructors here at VGMA do this. It's really fun to have a line of students, maybe they're 6 to 8 year olds, and all of a sudden their instructor just jumps into line with them and walks up and maybe does the technique on the back, right? And then gets back in line and does it again. It really shows the student that you value them because you're training alongside them. Maybe they're struggling through some push-ups and you drop down beside them and you do those push-ups with them. That's a way to show that you're invested in them and that you're willing to help them and encourage them along their journey. All right, next, we want to set them up for success. Instead of setting them up to struggle all the time, we want to make sure that they have the opportunity to succeed frequently. When we feel successful, we want to come back to the place where we feel successful. That's why video games are so powerful, because they want you to be successful. They make it a little bit hard and then they give you a little bit of success. And they do that regularly enough that you are kind of almost addicted to that success in the video game, which is why video games are very, very powerful and popular. We can do the same thing here by deliberately setting up the student for success. For instance, what we want to do is have them bring their hands up. And the way we can do that is say, okay, touch your thumbs to your cheekbones. All right, now bring your knee up. Great. Oh my gosh, you kept your hands up and I wasn't able to hit you in the face, right? That's a great way to set them up for success. We give them a very easy, very simple, very successful instruction, and then we praise it as soon as it happens. That lets them know that we are looking for the good they do, not just here to correct the bad they do. All right, finally, we want to be genuine. It's very, very important because even people who are very young can tell when we're being fake. If I don't actually care about that person's haircut and I go up and I'm like, oh, hey, great haircut. You can even see that through the camera and hear it in my voice. I don't care. But the reality is that I want to care about that person. When you're making connections, this is the most important thing to remember. That person is important, and they need to be important to you. That's a choice that we can make. Sometimes it's a struggle. Maybe they're the student that really bothers us. Maybe they don't have good hygiene habits, or maybe they've just started and they're kind of bouncing off the walls. Maybe they don't have good discipline and we're a little frustrated by them. We want to care about them. We want to see the future that they could have, and we want to try to encourage them toward that future, and we want to care genuinely about them. When we do this, it shows them through our voice, through our body language, through the way that we connect with them, that they mean something to us and that they have the potential to be successful here in this dojo. All right, guys, those are all great ways to make connections with the students here on the floor. Whether you are a good fighter who just started, whether you're an instructor who's been here for a few years, we want to make sure that we're still continuing to make those connections with students, with parents, with family members, with people who might be potential students, and with our other team members. I hope you continue to do that, and I hope you use this tool for the rest of your life to help make the world a better, brighter place. We'll see you guys in the next video.